Welcome to Heaving Bosoms, the podcast where two best friends recap romance novels. Well, and I guess sometimes we don't. Hey HBs, happy Monday. Are you staying hydrated? Sleeping enough? Don't forget to take care of yourself in the whirlwind that is this timeline. Just a gentle reminder. We've got a lot coming up this month on Patreon. So this Friday on the bonus feed, we're squeeing about the fourth book in the Relic series, Lost in Amber by Maz Maddox. We've got a dino shifter scientist who wants to prove himself as a spy, and a dino shifter spy who hasn't stopped thinking about him since he was shot by him 100 years ago. I'm telling you, this prologue comes out swinging. That's this Friday on Patreon and our Apple Podcast subscription. Then mark your calendars for Friday, September 19th at 8 p.m. Eastern. We try to keep all of our live events to the third Friday of the month. This month, instead of a movie night, we'll be hanging with author Alexandra Vasti. Ooh, I can't wait to talk with her about romance, the world, her upcoming sapphic historical Ladies in Hating, and, play some games and stuff. Ooh. Now I get to shout out some of the beautiful people who are part of our Patreon. Thank you for being beautiful, magical beings. Jane S., Allison M., Madeline D., Irbiek, Abel, and Jasmine C. All right, this week we've got a debut contemporary from the 5-star bribe list. Here's part 1 of Honey Girl by Morgan Rogers. Hello, Sabrina.
Oh, hello, Melody.
Sabrina, I have a question for you.
Well, okay, let me mentally prepare. Is it a question about this book or about something else?
It's about this book.
Okay. Continue.
Did we read a romance? I'm not even joking right now. Like, I've been thinking about it since I read the book, because sometimes this book is proof that sometimes there is such a fine line between what people would call romance and what other people would call, I guess, like women's fiction. Is that accurate?
Yeah, and there's okay. Well, man, okay. I'm kind of glad that you asked that because I've had quite the journey with this book, Melody.
Okay.
For completely personal, for personal reasons, I have been fighting to read this book for years. Okay. I'm not trying to put anybody on blast. So I'm not going to necessarily go into some details on why I've been fighting, why it's been hard to read. But
there are a lot of triggers in here for a lot of people. You know what I mean? There's mental health, there's family stuff, there's talk of suicide or attempts at. There's so much in here that is, I think, very well handled.
Yes.
But I think there's also this part that really kind of got me, and it's everybody being shitty about the main character's birthday. I was just that's a very specific thing I didn't think I was going to confront today.
I mean, hilariously, the universe really likes to say fuck you because this week specifically, birthdays came up in therapy, birthdays are happening in friends' lives. I personally have really, really complicated feelings about my birthday. So when I hadn't even gotten to that birthday scene in the past.
Oh, okay.
In the past, every time I've started this book, I have not made it if I even made it this far, I've not made it farther than her landing in New York.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Which is wild because I would argue that's maybe the only romance part. Maybe.
Well, and that's part of the, like, okay. Listener, we're here to talk about Honey Girl by Morgan Rogers. And one of my complaints, and I think one of the reasons that it's been hard for me to read ever, is, and it's, I think the most bananas part, Melody, is I have had this book recommended to me directly. Not like
comment on Facebook page or...
Not comment on Facebook. Like, I have had multiple people to my beautiful face tell me, you will love this book. And I've come to a couple of realizations. So just for some history for listener, I'm queer. My sexual, I identify as queer. The closest thing would be like probably pansexual or bisexual nowadays. But like, I identified as a lesbian for a significant portion of my younger adulthood.
Right.
And now that I'm like figuring out...
That's why you have issues with dry penises, you know?
It is. I have very little experience with dry penises. It's hard to know what to do with it. Yeah.
Sorry, everybody.
No, but you're not wrong. So I typically, partially because of being that age when I was exclusively, and like just because of the times, it never really, because of time and location, it just never really often came up. It was cis women that I was dating in the Deep South, you know? So, but regardless, I make a lot of jokes in my personal life about how lesbians are exhausting.
Sure.
And dating as a lesbian is exhausting because I don't want to, in the first date, I don't want to give you a rundown on all of my traumas, all of my exes, all of my historical, all of my history. Can't we just have a conversation? I want to know what color you like.
Sure.
I want to know.
I want to know whether or not you like Indian food.
Do you like peas and pasta? Like,
right.
I want to know.
I've never even considered putting peas in pasta, Sabrina.
Oh my God,
so that
Melody!
Is a wild
literally, my lady love
question.
this week is about to blow your mind.
Okay, I'm excited. All right, carry on.
Anyway, and so like I've made jokes, and then especially as I've been on my like neurodivergent, aromantic journey and figuring out what that is and what that means, I've realized that in general, it's been hard. Like, it's hard. For a long time, it was hard to read sapphic romance because it was too close to home because I was struggling with my aromantic identity. And now I've figured out a lot more of that. And so, like, I like a sapphic. I like them a lot more now. But why is all the sapphic romance so fucking heavy? There is no such thing as just a light. So, like, you remember just recently we read the Relic series. We've read Puck Boys. And even if they deal with heavy topics, they're still like
fucking
light.
Fun.
They're still fun.
They're still romps.
This is one of the reasons I'm so excited about Ladies in Hating. Is I'm really hoping that Alexandra Vasti brings the same vibe.
Yeah, absolutely.
From the first two books into Ladies in Hating, which, listener, if you're listening, please message us. I would love just sapphic romps. Even sapphic novels that I fucking love they're just so heavy in a way that I feel more like Atlas than...
Yeah.
Like, and I think part of it is just, it's a little close to home. It is. I've only ever been in sapphic relationships. I've only ever really dated actively sapphically when I was younger. And like, oh my God, it's just exhausting. It's like, I see these people, and like, I think this is a wrong place, wrong time for me for reading this book. Like, if I had read this book 10 years ago, I think I would have been obsessed with it to a level that is insane, which is, I think, is why people recommend it to me, right? Like,
yep.
But I think that this is just no longer a book for me. And that's okay.
Okay. That is fair. Yeah. So, all right. I will say this was a beautiful book.
Yes.
It was beautifully written. One thing that I couldn't put my finger on is that the prose felt really distant the whole time, if that makes sense.
I think that doesn't help why I wasn't a huge fan either. Like, it feels
absolutely.
like this feels like, you know what it is? So Melody made a content warning essentially about like mental health and things like that. But more specifically, listener, this is extremely intense as far as undiagnosed anxiety and depression is concerned.
Mm-hmm.
I think another reason that it was hard to read in the past is that I was dealing with untreated anxiety. Like I had there, but like I was dealing with untreated anxiety and depression when I was in the stage where I was saying that I think I would have loved this book. I was also dealing with that, and which is why I think I would have loved it. Now, I'm done.
Sure.
I can't do it anymore. Like, just get you need to figure something the fuck out. And like this girl, like I understand that she has familial stuff.
You understand all the reasons that lead up to it, but it's a hard headspace for you to be in.
Well, yeah, especially because, like, as you just said, Melody, this book is beautifully written. This author knows how to wield a pen because, like, this book is gorgeous, but also, like, Jesus fucking Christ, girl, get a therapist.
Well, right, and that doesn't happen until, like, I don't know, 85% into the book or something nuts.
Well, but then that digs into what you said earlier, is this a romance? So objectively, this is really fucking with my head, because if you go by the rules that you and I have actively stated and said many times on this podcast.
Let's make sure us and listener are on the same page. The two rules that I came up with as I was contemplating this are the love story needs to be the central storyline and there has to be a happy ending. Are there any others that you can think of? I mean, that's like the basest level of what a romance is.
Yeah.
So I have been going back and forth.
Specifically, to be clear, the happy ending, the book doesn't necessarily have to end happily, but the couple has to end happily, or the relationship has to end happily.
Yeah, or a happy for now, I guess, is the other term.
Yes, and that's fine. But, like, I've had so many arguments from people about, like, but there is a happy ending. And I'm like, the couple breaks up. That's fine. You can have a happy ending with the couple breaking up, but that immediately bars it from being a capital R romance.
Absolutely. Yes. It can be a fiction novel with a heavy romance, storyline.
Cough,
but
cough,
it's not a capital R romance.
Remember.
Yes.
Cough, cough. Like, not that ends happily, but yeah. Anyway.
Well, okay. So I have been going back and forth because I think there's a big argument that the romance is not the central storyline at all. Yuki is a side character at best.
I would argue that I would argue the same thing. Those are my two definitions but I think that there's an argument that some people could make that the romance is a main part. I don't agree with them, but I think that the argument could fairly validly be made.
It's a main part, but it's not the main part.
No, you know what? I would argue that it doesn't have to be the main part.
Really?
Yeah, because
how?
I'm thinking, I would definitely, all of the books that are coming to mind are books that straddle the women's fiction line, but I would still consider them a romance. So, like, for example, one of the first ones that comes to mind is Emily Henry. I went on an Emily Henry kick a couple of years ago, and I would argue that those are romances, but, like, equally important of the ones that I've read. I haven't read any of her recent stuff. I haven't read her in probably for 3 years or so, or since the book Bandit. Nope, the book, whatever, it doesn't matter. But listeners gonna know what I mean. It's like her third book, I think. I haven't read anything since then. And in all of her books, like Beach Read, for example, the character's personal growth is equally important in the sense that it gets just as much time on page as the romance between them and the love interest, and it has a happily ever
but I also read that one, and from my memory, not only are the characters interacting at least every other page, they're interacting together as soon as they meet and are shoved together, but also their personal growth is equally treated. You're finding out what
That's what I'm
both
saying.
people are, and that does not happen in this book. Yuki is nothing.
I do think that this would have been a very different book, and I think it would have been a book I liked more if it was dual point of view.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
I think it would have been necessary for this book to be dual point of view.
Because right now it's not a romance to me because I have no idea who Yuki is, and I don't know why she dealt with the bullshit she dealt with. Does that make sense?
Yes, absolutely.
All right, steak lovers, this one's for you. You know that moment when you slice into a perfectly cooked, melt-in-your-mouth steak? Pure magic. And that's exactly what Heartland Steak Company delivers. Hand-cut, Midwest-raised, premium meat, straight to your door, because you deserve the best. Growing up in Kansas with a butcher for a stepfather, I learned what real quality beef looks like. When Heartland Steak Company sent me their steaks for my honest opinion, let me tell you, they absolutely delivered. They know their craft, and it showed in every single bite. Build your perfect steak box or grab a grill-ready bundle. Either way, you're getting top-tier flavor. And here's the best part. $25 off any order of $175 or more. Just use promo code WOMEN at checkout. So go ahead, treat yourself. Head to heartlandsteakco.com, load up your cart, and don't forget, promo code WOMEN gets you that $25 off.
Well, because we don't know any of Yuki's backstory hardly.
Nothing.
We don't know, I think one of my
All
biggest
we know
issues
is that she's Japanese because she makes a lot of Asian jokes. That's what I know about Yuki.
Yeah, and her last name's Yamamoto.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she has a found family.
But we don't know anything.
I have no idea if she talks to her parents.
So I think earlier you said that the book felt very disconnected from everything, and this is why I'm saying this is a huge content warning. This book needs a huge content warning on it for undiagnosed anxiety and depression.
Okay. Oh, you think that's why?
I think it was an active choice, and I think it was an active choice for everything to feel very foggy and misty.
Yes.
For a reason, because it stops feeling foggy and misty at the end. It starts being a lot less purpley prose at the end. And at the end is when she is going to therapy. It's when she is starting to come into herself. It's when she's starting to stand up to her family and make her needs known and all of these things. It was a choice. And I think it's a choice that works for the novel.
It's a really effective one.
Oh, it's super effective. But if you're going into this to read a romance, it's a disservice.
We're not in a romance.
I think that this is one of those things, and this is so funny because we literally just read Time Traveler's Wife, which was, again, that's also not a romance by our definition.
It's not a romance.
And we're not equating those two books. But the point is that a lot of people think of it as a romance. Granted, a lot of people think call Nicholas Sparks romance, and I would argue that none of those people actually know what the romance genre is about.
Sure.
But it does a disservice to you and to this book.
Yes.
To treat it from get-go as a romance.
That was my point. Yeah.
As a coming of age, as an older coming of age.
Yeah.
Which is great.
And really interesting.
Yeah, because not everybody's coming of age story happens when they're 17. Not every coming of age story is a young adult story. None of us have our shit figured out when young adult books are taking place, Yeah, absolutely. That's a fantasy. Young adult books where you figure yourself out in full and really start the trajectory of your life, that's a fantasy. And that's okay, because all of these things are fiction. A lot of these things are fantasies. But
well, and I think this book also, this could have been a YA with just a couple of small changes to character demographics, and sliding it over into a different timeline would be really, really easy because it is that coming of age story. But I was really thinking about it because that's so interesting. I didn't even think about it from a showing mental health perspective. But I was like, is it because it's in third person? And then I remembered we just read Receiver of Many, which was in third person, and it still felt very active right here. I'm in it kind of a situation. And Yeah,
No,
you're completely right. I started being there when she could be present.
I would be shocked if I ever read anything from the author that stated that wasn't a intentional decision.
That's fucking brilliant. It really is. It didn't help me in my reading of and enjoying a romance.
Yes.
Because I wasn't.
Well, and that's what I'm saying is, like, it does you a disservice. I think that I would have loved this book a million times more.
Yeah, if I didn't have that.
If I wasn't
paradigm.
looking at it from a romance perspective.
Absolutely. Because it is a beautiful book. It's beautiful. But not only did it feel remote, but I felt like I was an omniscient person watching myself read because we're reading through like this rubric. And I kept on being like, the fuck, where is this happening? When is that going to happen? Did that happen already in the romance? Like, where are we? How are we? What are we doing?
This book felt, and I think that this was, the first time I tried to start this book, I thought it was, and actually talking with you right now is really helping me clarify some things in my head.
Yeah.
Because the first time I tried to read this book, it was audiobook. And
okay.
I did not like it. And I thought it was narrator. Sure. I thought that it would be different if I read it with my eyeballs. But then every time I've tried to read it since then has been eyeballs, and I still wasn't really getting into the book. And now talking with you, I'm realizing I didn't like the narrator, but it's because I was walking in. It's that whole disservice thing. This narrator is extremely effective at making this entire thing seem like a dream. Yes. It doesn't feel rooted in, it doesn't feel like the narrator has their feet on the ground. Sure. And it's because the character...
And that's not a critique of the performance. That's the performance doing the book justice. But it's not what we are expecting or wanting from a romance reading experience.
And this is why it's so important for publishers. If you're going to market a book as a romance, you really need to I've read a lot of books that are marketed as romance that I would not consider a romance. Sure. And I like the book less because I go in with certain expectations that are then not met.
And then the book feels deficient when it's not.
Yes, because if this was marketed as, I mean, like, I'm just going to bring up Time Traveler's Wife again, because like that's not marketed as a romance as far it's a better book if you read it not as a romance because it's not a fucking romance.
Sure.
Not that that has all of its problems, but like I said, the only reason I'm relating the two at all is because they're two books that we have recently done episodes on. You know what I mean?
And they were marketed in different ways.
Yes. And I wish that this book hadn't been marketed as a romance. I wish that the first time I read this had not been from...
For Heaving Bosoms? Or, oh no, it's not.
Period.
You didn't read it for that. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I wish it hadn't been marketed to me as a romance.
Sure. Period. Yeah, okay. So I'm so glad we had this conversation up top because...
Me too.
It's going to... I think it is going to shade a lot of what we say. And not like shade in a negative way. I just mean like put a certain filter on what people are looking at or hearing. Does that make sense? If
anything, I feel like it's going to be better that we've had this conversation up top because
Absolutely.
I know we're both verbal processors and I've been having all of these thoughts alone in my head about this book for 3-4 years. The book came out in 21. So like I've been having these thoughts alone in my head because everybody fucking loves this. Like, I get recommended this book all the time. They're like, you would love this. It's a sapphic romance. It's a blah, blah, blah. It's like, oh, God. And I just want to make one more comment before we really dive into book. I think that one of the reasons that this really is a wrong time, wrong place book, because I still think that even going into it as a non-romance would have been hard for me. And it's because I think I'm too close to the subject matter in the sense that when I think that I would have enjoyed this book, I was also deeply mentally ill and undiagnosed, untreated. Like, the self-medication that I was playing around with in my early 20s wasn't effective.
Nope.
And beyond that, I would have when I was the age that I think I would have enjoyed this book more,
Yeah.
In my early 20s, what a fantasy that you go on a vacation, you end up meeting somebody and they love you. You immediately have this soul deep connection where you see each other on a level that is not just beyond skin deep, but beyond brain deep. You meet each other and you fall in love with their soul and they fall in love with yours. And more importantly, there's no requirement that you do any work on yourself before they have loved you. And frankly, as somebody who has spent a lot of time and made a lot of mistakes and spent, frankly, a lot of money, because it's not cheap to get help for mental health in this country. No. That's not how it fucking works. And 10 years ago, this absolutely would have been a fantasy. It never would have lasted because that's not going to last. You know, the whole premise of this book is not going to last.
Yeah.
But now that I am the age that I am and in the circumstances and situation I am in after so much, over half a decade of hard fucking work on my mental health. And I think this is why it's too close to home, is 10 years ago, I would have loved to be in this exact situation. And now 10 years later, it's borderline offensive.
I see what you mean.
In the sense of, maybe offensive isn't the right, I guess offensive might be the right term, but like part of the issue is that this girl is my age, is close to my age, right? And like at this point in her life, I get that you've been balls deep in your PhD program for 11 years, but like you haven't sat down for half a second and really thought about the relationships in your life. You haven't sat down. And I think that that's what gets me is like at 20, even with her being the age she is, because listener, she's 29. She's about to turn 29. At the age that she is, like,
you haven't encountered any media that made you question anything. You haven't had a conversation with another person that made you think about X, Y, and Z. Like, really, it's as though the author treats the 11 years that she's getting her PhD.
It's purgatory.
Her schooling from bachelor to PhD. Mm-hmm. She treats that 11 years as if it's like in its own bubble. Yeah, purgatory. Like nothing happens to the character.
She's in limbo.
Yes. Yeah. And she's in limbo for everything except her knowledge of astronomy. It was really interesting because even when you're only focused on one thing, right? Like a bachelor's degree, you're required to take a lot of different classes for a liberal arts degree, right? So you're getting a lot of different data and input and perspectives. But then once you like really hone down and focus, you're still living in the world, you know? And it's treated as though she's like in a bubble.
Well, if anything, I would say that I don't know that she is. Because, like, she has a lot of help in the sense that she lives in Portland, which is not an inexpensive city, but she makes do with 1-2 roommates because her father helps her with paying for school. Her school is paid for. Mm-hmm. And so she just really has to focus on rent. That's a whole different ballgame. I interacted with the world a lot less when I was not worried about where my next meal was coming from. So I think we just need to get into the book. I think that our critiques and our thoughts are going to be better with context as far as the book is concerned.
Sure. Yeah.
I think that right now you and I are we're being purple ourselves right now. We're being vague because we haven't discussed the actual book. Nobody, like, if people haven't read this book, then they're not going to have any idea what we're talking about. And frankly, like, I'm really curious to hear listener thoughts. I'd love to hear listeners' thoughts on book. Because it's either...
always, but especially now. Yeah.
Yes. As well, I always love to hear listeners' thoughts, but I especially love to hear, just in general, other people's thoughts on books that I'm conflicted about. And, like, I'll be frank that this is a book I'm conflicted about. I don't know. Like, I know where I stand, but it's hard to verbalize some of the reasons that I like, and I think as we work through book, the fog will lift.
When you think about businesses that are selling through the roof, like Aloe or Skims, sure, you think about a great product, a cool brand, and brilliant marketing. But an often overlooked secret is actually the businesses behind the business, making selling and for shoppers, buying simple. For millions of businesses, that business is Shopify. Nobody does selling better than Shopify. With Shop Pay, that boosts conversions up to 50%, meaning way less carts are going abandoned and way more sales happening. So if you're into growing your business, your commerce platform better be ready to sell whatever your customers are scrolling or strolling on the web, in your store, in their feed, and everywhere in between. Businesses that sell more sell on Shopify. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout Skims uses. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/Westwood1, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/Westwood1 to upgrade your selling today. Shopify.com/Westwood1.
Okay, well, I think we should start here, Sabrina. What is her name? Boy, can I not remember it right now?
Grace Porter.
Thank you. Oh my God.
I did have to think about it though,
God.
because I was like, Porter, Honey Girl.
Yeah.
Space Girl. Star
Yeah,
Girl.
Yeah. Okay, so this is Grace Porter. She's 29 and she is just
28.
about... She's
Importantly,
28.
she's 28.
You're right. And she's just about to be done with her doctorate in astronomy. Her dad is sending her on an all-expenses-paid Vegas vacation. Incredible.
Can't relate. Sounds fun.
Can't relate to that. Jeez Louise. Yeah, he's sending her and two friends on an all-expenses-paid vacation to Vegas to, like, celebrate and, like, blow off some steam after 11 years of, like, very hard study. And so she's waking up in a hotel room in Vegas, and everything is very hazy. So she looks over at the nightstand.
Melody, I don't know.
The bed smells.
I don't know that you needed to make the clarification that just listener, we're no longer stating everything is hazy, because until the last 3 chapters of the book, everything is hazy. It feels like you're walking through a dreamscape.
Yes, but this is hazy for a very specific hangover reason. And that's important to, like, the dynamics of their marriage. Spoiler alert.
God, there's so much catnip in this book. Objectively, you know what? People who told me that I should love this book, you're right.
Yeah, I know.
There's so much catnip. We just read we've read several Woke Up Drunk in Vegas. Not all of them for podcasts, just we happen to read the same fucking book. Mm-hmm. And, like, recently, in the last year, that has happened. And we love that trope. There's so much fucking catnip in this book.
Yeah. Yes. So she wakes up, she looks over, her bed smells like sea salt and sage, I think. Mm-hmm. And that's what her love interest, her baseline scent is sea salt, which is incredible. And then, like, there are other scents that, like, weave through it throughout the book. Then she looks over and she sees a picture sitting on the nightstand, and it's her and another woman the night before, obviously, because it's the outfit she was in, at a wedding chapel. She says Elvis isn't there, but there is a guy with sequins all over his jumpsuit and a pompadour. And I'm like, bitch, that's Elvis, okay? It might not be a good one, okay? But, like, that's Elvis. Anyway, so, yeah,
at least Elvis inspired, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. So then she looks down at her hand, and she's got a gold ring on her hand, on her wedding finger, and she's like, oh, fuck, I got married last night. Where is my wife? And then she starts getting, like, snapshots of memories of the night before, and, like, they met out dancing, and then, you know, they walked through some, like, flowers, and the flowers ended up in her hair, ? And she had rosebud cheeks. It was...
I honestly am so grateful, just thinking back on my youth, that I did not end up drunk married.
Oh, sure. Yeah. I mean, it's actually harder to do than one would think.
It is.
So, yeah.
You're right.
Yeah.
It's not the way it is in books, but woof.
But woof.
That's a decision that young drunk Sabrina would have made. Young drunk
Most
Sabrina would have been
definitely.
like, I have made a soul deep connection with
Yes.
this person, and now I'm going to get married to
It's
them.
going to be forever times.
Oh God.
Yeah. So, and then she looks over and there is a note and a business card, ? On the nightstand. And it says like, wow, I woke up and you're beautiful and I think you might be my wife. And hopefully I see you someday. And then the business card is just the address to a radio show.
Hey, Melody.
Yeah.
My first thought reading this book was, are we missing out by not having business cards?
I don't think so.
Do we like literally this girl had a business card for her radio show, her midnight radio show in New York City, and I was like, do I need a business
podcast
cards?
business card?
I'm not
I don't know,
opposed
no.
to it because I love a business card.
Sure.
I was so excited to get a job that has a business card that I purchased a like beautiful business card case that
Nice.
now has no use. I'm
No, not at all.
devastated that it has no use.
Let's make you a business card.
Part of me has
Great.
thought to myself, maybe I should make myself business cards. Because I no longer give it. Like, I don't actually give a shit what people think about me. And so, like, if they think I'm a fucking weirdo for having essentially what equates to calling cards on me at all times,
Yeah. I kind of love it.
maybe I need business cards. But they're
Yeah.
not business. They would be calling cards, is what they would be.
Yeah.
Essentially modern day old timey calling cards. These
I
are my
love it.
these are my podcasts. This is the phone number that you should be
Yeah.
able to reach me at. This is my here's all of the ways that you can reach me as essentially
Here are my
a stranger.
special interests.
Well, especially now that I don't do social media, because like it used to be the go-to was like, oh, we'll friend each other on Facebook, and now I have to
Yeah.
go on to Firefox on my phone, and like I'm not on there. You're
Yeah,
also going to get
absolutely.
lost. Do you know how many group chats I'm in on Facebook Messenger? You're going to get lost. Like,
Of course. Yeah.
here's my
Yeah. Oh, man.
Snapchat.
I wish I remembered what I watched the other day, but it was hilarious because it was like an older person and a younger person, and the guy is like, trying to leave his business card, and the girl like grabs it and she's like, "What are you doing? Are you handing me your trash?" And he's like, "It's my business card."
Yeah, frankly,
so
if
funny.
you, hey listener, if you're if you're my age or older and you hand somebody your business card and they ask, "Are you handing me your trash?" They're too young for you.
Yeah.
They're too
you
young.
have a generational divide that is insurmountable.
That is a generational divide that is, if it's not causing problems now, it's going
Yeah.
to cause problems.
We
one
cannot
day.
bridge it. Yep, that's can't do it. So anyway, she's got this amorphous like way to contact the maybe person she's married to who she doesn't even know the name of. I mean, and like a lot of this was unrelatable to me because I was like, call the clerk's office and have them send you they send you your marriage certificate. You have to tell them to send it fucking somewhere. Like, what are you doing? You don't know her name.
As a young unmarried person who did not really have married friends up until semi-recently, like fairly recently, if I had not had a job that had me directly working with county government, local
Yeah.
county government, I would have no idea. I would have no idea where to get this information.
Yeah, but
also,
literally everybody else knows the answer to it. And so if you're too ashamed to ask your friend or your family, just call somebody at a city hall somewhere and be like, where do I get this information?
Melody,
There are
I am
ways.
telling
You Google it.
I'm telling you,
like-
it would not have crossed my mind to call City Hall. Why would you ever call City Hall?
Because you got married, you do
Why
that
would-
through a governmental agency. That is a government document.
These two very clearly did not even touch a government agency. They touched an Elvis that they don't think is Elvis, and that is it. And these motherfuckers are married, okay?
No, but then you're not married. You did a marriage ceremony, but if they're selling marriages, they're doing it through a governmental agency, and you signed papers.
Think of Jax and Daxter. Nope, that's not their names. Dex
Wow.
and...
Trip.
Wow. Dex
Wow.
and Trip,
Look
they
at me.
sure as fuck didn't touch a Melody. No
Yes,
one
they
is surprised
did.
you remember their names.
Yes, they did. They filled out paperwork, ma'am. They filled out paperwork.
They didn't go touch City Hall. You think that these drunk ass, she barely remembers the look of her rose-budded wife.
Look,
she doesn't,
man, no, I'm
she
just
doesn't
saying.
even know this woman's name, and you think that she remembers filling out paperwork the night before?
But it doesn't matter
Ma'am,
because
you've
that's
been
a normal
blackout
thing.
drunk like once in your life. As per you have stated, you've been blackout drunk like once or twice in your life.
Multiple times. Boy, have I gone blackouts.
I am telling you, as a veteran blackout drinker, that there's no fucking way this girl remembers filling out that paperwork.
And I'm telling you, as a veteran blackout drinker, that I would start doing a giant Sherlock Holmes just like I did for my Rogue tampon that time I blacked out.
If you think that this girl is not hoping that if she just... Melody, did we read the same book about the same character? If you think that she does not just ignore this and hope that it goes away...
It was unrelatable to me.
It is unrelatable. It is... No, you know what?
Even at my manic pixie dream girliest.
I think the problem here, Melody, is that you're coming from this where there's never been a time in your life where this girl is actually truly relatable, and I can no longer relate to her, but I could have related to her 10 years ago. And I am telling you, Melody Carlisle, that this is not this is so much less far-fetched than Jack and Daxter. Nope. Dex and Trip.
Jack and Daxter?
It's a video game.
Came up with?
It's like a video game that I loved growing up, and like,
okay,
it's so good, but also like, I cannot think of like, my brain wants it to be Jack and Daxter so bad. They're not even human. I need you to know that, Melody. Jack and Daxter,
Trip and Dex.
go looking up. They're not human.
Incredible. This is Trip and Dex from Saxon James and Eden Finley's Puck Boys. All right, everybody? Mm-hmm. Anyway, so yeah, she has this rose-budded cheeked girl, and I think she calls her like her flower girl or something, and it's all wow. And then two best friends show up. There's Agnes and Jimena, and they're giving her shit about like, what did you do? What did you get up to? And she's like, ah! And then they get on a plane and go home, and Agnes knows that something's up, and then she notices the ring. And she's like, I'm not going to out you, but like, we should have a talk about this.
Or was it Agnes?
No, it was Agnes.
Oh.
Jimena is the one. Jimena is the responsible one of the three. Jimena is the one who has her shit together. Jimena would have been the one who judged.
Arguably, Jimena is the only person in this book who has a modicum of self-awareness.
Yeah, that's
and
fair.
The way that her actions impact other people.
That's fair. I think Mira does too, but people don't give her the information she needs to make accurate choices.
Oh, you know enough about Mira to make that?
I mean, no, you're right. I don't.
Make that supposition about her personhood?
I'm going purely off of the couple of conversations she had and her brother Raj saying, like, he hasn't clued her in. That's literally all.
Well, I think that that's one of the reasons that we feel like why the disconnect to all of these people feels so intense is that this book is all tell and it doesn't show. This book is all tell instead of show.
Except for the writing style, apparently, I discovered, you illuminated for me earlier. Like, that is show.
Well, like, this book is like 6 levels deep is what it is.
Yeah. Too deep for old Melody.
Like I said, if it wasn't intentional,
oh boy,
this author really needs to tap into their unseen potentials. But on top of that, if it was intentional, this author's a genius. This was a debut novel. Like,
was it really?
Yeah.
Incredible. Wow.
Like, I don't know if they wrote like elsewhere, like on like, I don't know, fan fiction or like I don't know if this is like or like where this author came from, but like
debut big
this
publisher.
Is a debut novel.
Wow. That's wonderful. Yeah, so then she goes back home to Portland, Oregon. We see her do astronomy times. We hear about her defending her dissertation. We hear about her going on a job interview at some amorphous time before she's currently talking to us. And she experiences like some really serious and blatant racism from not only her coworkers, but it seems like systemic racism from the company as a whole.
Yes.
Or her potential coworkers, I should say. and she like gets up and walks out. Essentially, what happens to her is that she shows them her research and they do not believe that she did it. They think that her mentor did it and then let her put her name on it.
The bullshit that this woman goes through. So, like,
Oof.
it's very interesting because I don't identify as a woman. I identify as genderqueer, but I do identify as a woman in STEM because I am woman presenting. People, like, they just make that assumption, and that's fine. And, like, wow, she's not exaggerating.
Yeah. No,
She's not, this is not, like, I'm telling you right now, this is not an exaggeration. And I might not have to deal with the race aspect of it, but, like, she's not fucking kidding.
But if it's that bad just about gender, right? It's going to be exponential for Black and queer and woman.
And, like,
and
I see this happen. It's heinous is what it is. And, like, I'm not shocked that they're treating her like that.
No, it didn't feel like a reach.
Gross.
It felt, this is one of the biggest things that felt firmly grounded. You know?
Well, and I think it's because this is something that actually, like, affects her in a way that she cannot avoid. And so she has no choice but to deal with it and acknowledge that it's happening.
Interesting.
She can't just dreamscape past it because no matter how much effort she puts into it, her job hunt is, I don't know, everybody has different experiences with depression and anxiety, but it was not the only thing that really felt tangible in my life in the deepest, darkest throes of undiagnosed anxiety and depression and mental illness generally were things that were unavoidable to actually reach out and touch, in the sense that like, it's this bubble that you live in of mental illness. There's not a whole lot of things, and depending on where you are in your mental, like what flavor your mental illness is, but like depending on how thick your bubble is, and this bitch has a thick ass bubble, okay? She, like, boy, this girl is 15 miles above the earth.
Yeah.
There are some things that can pop that bubble, and this job hunt for her is one of them.
That makes a lot of sense, yeah. No, it absolutely does.
When you think about businesses that are selling through the roof, like Aloe or Skims, sure, you think about a great product, a cool brand, and brilliant marketing. But an often overlooked secret is actually the businesses behind the business, making selling, and for shoppers, buying simple. For millions of businesses, that business is Shopify. Nobody does selling better than Shopify. With Shop Pay, that boosts conversions up to 50%, meaning way less carts are going abandoned and way more sales happening. So if you're into growing your business, your commerce platform better be ready to sell whatever your customers are scrolling or strolling on the web, in your store, in their feed, and everywhere in between. Businesses that sell more sell on Shopify. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout Skims uses. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/Westwood1, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/Westwood1 to upgrade your selling today. Shopify.com/Westwood1.
So she's dealing with that, and then we meet her dad, and she calls her dad Colonel exclusively.
Everybody calls him Colonel.
Yes, yeah, but including his daughter. And it's not like a cutesy nickname or whatever. My recollection is that she's called her Colonel Dad like twice, and one of them is right now in the text. So it's that felt like a very remote relationship as well. Like, he's not emotionally available at all.
To anybody.
No, but he is incredibly supportive. Her parents are divorced. He is the one who has raised her whole life. And her mom has always been, like, going off on international trips to, like, eat, pray, love herself into, I don't know, happiness. Also important, Colonel is Black, and then the mom is white.
Yes.
So, and she has what's described as like this honey-colored hair that's just fucking beautiful.
Oh my
That's
God.
why Yuki calls her Honey Girl.
The cover for this book, I've always thought that the cover for this book is gorgeous.
Yeah. So, anyway, her dad is very like, you have degree, now wear job. And she's like too ashamed to tell him that she's failing. But it also seems like she, because of her experience, and this makes sense to me, she's actually putting in a lot less effort than she could to the job hunt in general. She sort of talks about sending in like resumes or whatever, but she's mostly relying on her mentor to like, you know, push her towards a job or another and like get a word in. But then she feels like that crushing failure as well.
A very important note that just based on what you just said, I don't know that you've clocked.
Okay.
The job that she walked out on was basically, she was crafted as an academic for this position.
Oh, yeah. She was groomed for it, specifically.
So I'm not surprised that this mentally ill woman, it is hard for her to job hunt beyond that when that falls through.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And it also makes sense that she would blame herself for failure, even though the only failure is not doing things for it, right? Like, I've been in that situation so often.
Like, she's failing herself because the system failed her first.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And her mentor tries to be understanding, but obviously doesn't have the experience or the data from her. Like, she doesn't get a good description of the interview from Porter because everybody calls her by her last name, including her mom and dad. But yeah, she doesn't have enough to like really grasp just how devastating this was and just how like scorched earth this interview was.
Maybe this is, wow, as we're talking, I'm realizing this book is just a lot of personal experience that I hadn't even clocked until we're talking about it. But knowing prospective PhD students and their mentors, this mentor is a fucking selfish asshole.
What? Why? Say everything.
This mentor has groomed this woman.
Yeah.
Or maybe not selfish, but self-centered. This character is the main character in their story, and they do not have the empathy to acknowledge that other people have different experiences and that there are other things at play other than your decisions and thought. Like, your actions affect other people, and other people's actions affect those people too. This mentor groomed this woman for this position without ever even considering that race could be an issue.
Oh, yeah. Without considering the company culture at all.
Yes. It is well, this worked for me, so this is going to work for you. And so I'm going to mold you like clay for this one fucking position. I'm also going to imbue a level of, this is a bad mentor. No, I was going to say, I'm going to imbue you with a level of romance about your pursuit and this topic that's fine to have, but you need the solid science basis that leads to, like, I need you to understand that that is your personal feelings towards the matter, and the position that I'm grooming you for is in fact a science position. It's not the romance of the universe. It is the deep down, like, you're not going to get to play with that.
Yeah. Well, okay, so I read that completely differently. My rating of that dynamic is that she is trying to connect with the reader, just like she later on talks about connecting with students, about like bringing the universe into yourself and also projecting yourself into the universe, right? Like making that connection so that the topic is interesting and tangible and all of that. I very much got the read that she is big-time science lady and knows that she would only talk about big-time science things in interview. Like, there's no fucking way she would hand them their research and then be like, and the stars are in love. Like, that's not what's happening.
No, and I would agree with that, but I don't think I don't think that this mentor, why are you grooming this woman who's clearly here, has the science background, but is here for the love of astronomy instead of, like, the science is necessary. The science is the evil necessity to get the degree. It's actually and the reason I say that is I feel very similarly about math.
Okay.
I have a degree in math, and it's because I have a level of romantic ideal about what mathematics is in the universe and what it means in the world as a knowledge. Like,
as a universal language, allegedly.
I deeply romanticize math.
Yeah.
I am aware that's the feeling of math that I have, and so I knew that I was not going to get a math job.
Okay, so what I'm hearing you say is that this mentor allowed her to keep on this like very romanticized track instead of giving her the real life perspective of it's going to be nitty gritty all the time.
Yes.
In this job.
Yes.
Right? Okay. All right. That makes a lot more sense.
Yeah.
The job I'm grooming you for is not romantic whatsoever.
Yes.
It is numbers and telescopes and like barely anything else.
And there's a certain...
Wow, I have such a huge understanding of astronomy, you know? Wow.
Well, and there's a level of romance you can bring to a job like that in your own personal life, but like, she got groomed for the wrong job.
Sure. Or at least she was groomed badly for that job.
Yes.
Also. I think it's probably a combination.
But also, it's fucking bullshit to groom for a specific job, period. Mentor. Yeah. That is egregious of a mentor. Yeah. And you see it all the fucking time in upper level academics, but like, bro.
Yeah. Yeah, it's rough. Okay, so anyway, meanwhile, she's also like, I'm married and there's like this hazy rosebud girl out there. And boy, am I not going to think about it very much. And so we see her like go to her job at a tea shop and we meet those people who like have sort of become her brother and sister over the time that she's worked there. And like, I don't know, her dad keeps on putting a lot of pressure on her. And it's obvious that that's a friction point that's going to burst pretty soon. And we find out at one point that when her parents got divorced, she started as a very rebellious, fuck everything, you can't tell me what to do because you can't even run your own life kind of kid. And then afterwards, after like shit hit the fan, basically, as far as, you know, her middle school academics and, you know, everything starts falling apart because she's not behaving well. Her dad like handed her a plan and was like, this is your plan and you're gonna do it. Period, the end. And suddenly she was just like, well, here I am. I've got a map and I'm going to follow the map and I love the map and my dad is always right no matter what, except for the fact that his plan leads to medicine and hers leads to a doctorate in astronomy.
Yeah.
And like he gets on board with that, obviously, because he's still paying for everything all the way up through her doctorate.
He doesn't pay for her doctorate. He refuses to pay for the doctorate. He'll pay for everything but her doctorate. Yeah.
But he's still helping with rent.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he doesn't cut her off because she's getting a doctorate.
No,
he's just like, doesn't. I don't know, pay for your fucking self, man. You want that? Go get it. Go get it, and then I'll send you on an all-expenses-paid trip with 2 friends to Vegas to celebrate it. Like, she gets, y'all, behind the scenes, she gets, like, really salty with her dad, and I had a bit of a parental, like, lens on it that I didn't love. I was just like, why are you being like this to him? He's emotionally remote, yeah. He sucks at a lot of things, but he's made this possible for you the whole time. No questions asked.
I repeat yet again.
I know.
This is a deeply mentally ill woman who is completely undiagnosed and untreated.
Yeah. And
that's what the whole basis of, like, every time you and I...
God, you're right.
Because it's going to happen to me the rest of the book, too, where I'm going to be like, this doesn't make sense. Why the fuck would you do this, and that? The answer...
No, you're totally right.
This is a deeply mentally... Well, and also, she is an unreliable narrator.
Yes. Absolutely. For sure.
This is and then, like, the book... I don't think the book would have worked. So earlier we said, like, as a romance, it would have maybe been better with dual point of view. But also, this book would not have worked as a dual point of view. It wouldn't have. Because then we would see her from an outside perspective.
Yeah.
Instead of her within her own head, where she thinks that everything is fine.
Yeah.
And it's hard, but now she's feeling lost for the first time and all of these things. Like, this would have been a very different book with dual point of view.
It absolutely would. I mean, and one of the reasons, just logistically, is that we either would have had to spend a lot
More
less time on her mental health and understanding that and being in it, unless it was going to be like a 600-page book, you know?
Yeah.
Like, we would have lost a lot of the context that I think is the only reason that the book works as well as it does for not a romance.
Yeah.
You know? Okay, So anyway, the first third of the book is watching her have a not-so-slow meltdown because she's unmoored for the first time in 11 years. She graduated. She's supposed to be getting a job. The job she was fucking promised has fallen through. And so she's grasping at straws, and she has no coping mechanisms to deal with it.
Why do you think she ended up living with her dad when they divorced instead of her mom?
I think two reasons.
Mm-hmm.
One is just the nature of both of them. The dad is much more stable than the mom. The mom is going to be flighty whether or not she has a kid. And I think the other is race.
Okay.
I think that it would be really, I think there is an understanding that, like, it's impossible to raise a Black child to be a Black person in the world as a white person with no input from the Black community. And not impossible, you know what I mean? But, like,
it takes a level of dedication there to another human being that her mother does not have.
No, I don't even think it's dedication. I think it's just, like, blind spots. You know, you're not going to prepare your kid for the bullshit they're going to experience with law enforcement because you don't experience that with law enforcement. You're not going to know, you know, a bunch of shit that people in the Black community inherently do.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it's just general nature and race are the two reasons she ends up with dad. And it's not like her mom's, like, not involved, but her mom is just gone all the time. Her mom is geographically remote and her dad is emotionally remote. And I love that, like, both of those things are dealt with head on by the end of the book. Well, the mom is not really, it's implied that they're going to deal with it head on real soon with the mom by the end of the book.
Yeah, I just reiterate, this is a book that it was hard to read, and I'll just leave it at that.
Sure.
When you think about businesses that are selling through the roof, like Aloe or Skims, sure, you think about a great product, a cool brand, and brilliant marketing. But an often overlooked secret is actually the businesses behind the business, making selling, and for shoppers, buying simple. For millions of businesses, that business is Shopify. Nobody does selling better than Shopify. With Shop Pay, that boosts conversions up to 50%, meaning way less carts are going abandoned and way more sales happening. So if you're into growing your business, your commerce platform better be ready to sell whatever your customers are scrolling or strolling on the web, in your store, in their feed, and everywhere in between. Businesses that sell more sell on Shopify. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout Skims uses. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/Westwood1, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/Westwood1 to upgrade your selling today. Shopify.com/Westwood1.
Okay, so then she does have this meltdown, and it gets to the point where she needs to escape. And it's like this sudden onset panic. I've got to get the fuck out of here. And she ends up in a stairwell at the hospital that Jimena works at. And I think Agnes is there. I don't remember why, but they're both like...
Agnes is basically attached to Jimena at the hip, and if she's not working, she wants to be with Jimena. She's at the hospital because Jimena is working at the hospital right then.
Okay.
And she does not have her job right there.
Okay, fair enough. So they're both there, and she's, like, going completely non-communicative. They're having a really hard time reaching her, and then she's like, just leave me alone. I'm going to go to the stairwell, and I'm going to make a call. She calls her mom, and she asks if she can go to Florida for a bit, just to, like, get out of her whole life and be able to figure out what she wants to do next. She cannot figure it out in this pressure cooker. And by the end of their phone call, like the mom kind of says no because she's in Germany or something. And by the end of the phone call, she's like rocking back and forth and crying and self-harming.
Mm-hmm.
I get, trigger warning for self-harm.
For sure. Yeah.
Because when she gets really upset, she doesn't even notice it at the time, but she'll like claw bloody crescents and like bloody scrapes into her arm.
I think one of the things that is most interesting about the self-harm in this book is I don't think you're going to clock it unless you're that flavor of self-harmer.
Oh, yeah.
You won't even realize that it's happening because it's subtle. She never actively refers to it as that.
No. If you don't have experience either personally or really close to you in proximity or relation, you probably wouldn't notice it. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because I've never been a self-harmer, but I was like, oh, fuck. Hey, everybody. She's self-harming.
Yeah. I'll put it this way. There are things that I did when I was younger that I did not recognize were self-harm on my own body until talking to a therapist.
Yeah.
So, I definitely clocked this. I was like, oh, this bitch is like this. She may as well just be like taking a razor blade to her wrists.
Yeah. Yeah. And she can't because she doesn't do it consciously.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So she just uses she ends up using her nails because that's what is immediately available.
Mm-hmm.
Because again, it's an unconscious reaction.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, she figures out that she can't really go to her mom's house because her mom is not there. She's on a vacay of some sort with her fiancé, Kelly.
Well, and I think the most interesting thing about that is you have a bedroom at that house. You can definitely still go to that fucking house.
I know.
You're not you're not
Did the mom ever actually say no?
No.
I thought she said, we should have another talk about this.
Basically. But she wasn't actually looking for a place to go. She was looking for somebody who would ta-ta her. And her mom was not going to be the person who ta-tas her. Which brings us to, I think it's interesting that you have not mentioned her interactions with Yuki at all.
Is it interesting? Because I don't remember any interactions other than she listens to her radio show and maybe they've called each other by now? Have they called each other by now?
But that, I don't know.
Yeah. No, really, it is it is a subplot. The romance is a subplot in this book. Yeah, so anyway, she figures out, actually, Jimena figures out, or maybe one of the friends figures out, they find the exact show location for this radio show. They listen to one of them, and Yuki, the host and wife, says at the end, hey, and I know everybody knows that I recently met someone, and I really hope they're listening, and so this goes out to Honey Girl because of your flaxen whatever, and that's it. Good night, lonely creatures. Because Yuki, her midnight radio show, on the face of it, is about paranormal and monsters and things that go bump in the night or whatever. But what it really is outreach to incredibly lonely people, insomniacs, etc. So Yuki will come with a different myth or creature or lore or whatever, and she'll do a show about it, and it always relates back to the personal. It always relates back to humanity, as all monster stories do, right? But yeah, that's what her show is. And so I think the first one, I don't remember what the first one is. It doesn't matter. Over the course of this, she tells Plato's myth of humanity's creation, with everybody being big balls of humans, and then Zeus splits them down the middle. And so you're always walking around looking for your soulmate. And then there's another one where she talks about Selkies. We see quite a bit of her radio show throughout because a lot of their quote unquote interaction is actually just Grace Porter, because nobody calls her Grace. I'm really, this name thing, I don't understand it. And I don't know if it's just a quirky thing or It's supposed to symbolize how distant she is even from her closest kin, but they either call her by her last name or both names together. It's either Porter or Grace Porter. And it's never, like, there's nobody intimate enough with her to find using her first name appropriate, is sort of the read I got from it.
Well, and I think part of it is that that's what she wants, or thinks that she wants. It's, so, and this is another mentally ill thing, is that she has convinced herself that she wants these things that have been impressed on her entire life. Because if it's not what she wants, then if she acknowledges that it's not what she wants, then she has to confront it.
And she's wasted 11 years of her life.
Yeah.
Like,
well, because it's
very sunk cost fallacy.
She doesn't even clock this until, like, somebody else brings it up towards the end of the book, that she did astronomy. She ended up going for astronomy in her degree and, like, her life decisions, etc., as a fuck you to her dad.
Yeah. Yeah, that was one
rough.
of the underlying motivations.
That's rough.
That her dad didn't want her to do it.
And, like, this is such a good example of, like, people are like, well, I dealt with my mental illness, and I said this for a long time, too. I dealt with my mental illness and the issues in my life, blah, blah, blah. Like, I wish, like, I never dealt with it when I was younger, but it's like, I wish that I had, because things would be better now. It's part of the reason I'm like, take care of it now. I'm very much a take care of it preemptively before it becomes like a big issue, because ultimately it's all going to build up. If you're building something on inaccurate portrayal or understanding of yourself, then
the house of cards will fall someday. That's where we're going to stop for today. We'll be back tomorrow for the second half of this journey to self-discovery. Heaving Bosoms is produced by us, Melody Carlisle and Sabrina Bradley. Editing is done by me, Melody Carlisle. Our theme music is by the incredible singer-songwriter Brittany Fonts, and our art is by the ultra-talented author Kate Pryor. If you like our show, remember to follow us on your favorite podcast app, rate us 5 stars, and leave a review. That one small action is a huge way to help the show. If you want to get in touch with us for advertising inquiries or anything else, you can email us at heavingbosomspodcast@gmail.com. If you want more of us, visit patreon.com/heavingbosomspodcast. You can also find us on Instagram at Heaving Bosoms, on TikTok at Heaving_Bosoms, and in our Facebook group, the Heaving Bosoms Geriatric Friendship Cult. See you tomorrow.
When you think about businesses that are selling through the roof, like Aloe or Skims, sure, you think about a great product, a cool brand, and brilliant marketing. But an often overlooked secret is actually the businesses behind the business, making selling, and for shoppers, buying, simple. For millions of businesses, that business is Shopify. Nobody does selling better than Shopify. With Shop Pay, that boosts conversions up to 50%, meaning way less carts are going abandoned and way more sales happening. So if you're into growing your business, your commerce platform better be ready to sell whatever your customers are scrolling or strolling on the web, in your store, in their feed, and everywhere in between. Businesses that sell more, sell on Shopify. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout Skims uses. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/Westwood1, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/Westwood1 to upgrade your selling today. Shopify.com/Westwood1.